Hello, we are still bringing you up to date with what's happening at the AU Summit that is taking place here in Kigali. Now, on the sidelines of the summit, we are going to discuss about human rights as the theme of this year's African Union Summit goes human rights and women's rights. In the studio, on the set of Rwanda Television, I'm joined by Augustino Ramadhan, the president of the African Court on Human and People's Rights. Welcome to the set, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we've seen the African Court of Human and People's Rights handling different cases. And I can cite the example of the Libyan case that was brought before your court.
Yeah.
Should we expect more countries to be brought forward, to be brought before your court?
Actually, we should be. At the moment, there are many cases from Tanzania. You know, the main possible applicant to our courts are individuals and NGOs. Now, and hence you have to sign the declaration under Article 34.6. Now, under the declaration, there are only 8 countries. Actually, there were 8 countries. And the main cases come from individuals and NGOs. Because human rights are about individuals. The states will not be coming to us for human rights. Who will violate their human rights, you see? So mainly it is individuals. Now, we have a number of cases. So far, I think we have got about, coming nearly to about 90. Only from these 7 countries. And the bulk of the cases are from Tanzania. Simply because the court is in Arusha, Tanzania, and it is there, and so they access it, and they know about it.
So what's the mandate of the African Court on Human and People's Rights?
The mandate is to hear complaints on human rights and the interpretation of the human rights protocol, the African protocol, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So to hear applications from the Charter and any other human rights instruments which parties have signed. So you can use even the International Covenant of civic and political rights and all these other instruments.
What's the current state of human rights on the continent?
I would say the current status of human rights in the continent is satisfactory. It's not at the best as it should be, but it is satisfactory. Especially when you get people complaining about their rights. Then that's a good indicator. At least because if you have stepped on me, you should be able to tell me you are stepping on me. But if I step on you and you don't say anything because you are afraid of telling me that I am stepping on your foot, then that is not a good sign. But if you get people coming saying no, the government or government officials have stepped on my toes, on my rights, that's a good sign.
If you have only one permanent person, judge at the court, others come as on contracts, they come, go, and isn't that a challenge to the court, among other challenges? If I can ask, what kind of challenges are you encountering aside that?
I agree, it is a challenge. And this does not come on contract, as it were, because a judge is elected for 6 years. And actually, during this summit, there are going to be elected 4 judges, this summit. And you are elected for 6 years. But what I'm saying is that they are not full-time. I am full-time. I don't have any other work but the court. And I stay in Arusha. The others stay in all other places, and they just come to Arusha for sessions, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, at most one month. But to come to your question about challenges, that one of that not being full-time, all of us, is a big challenge. Because we have to depend upon email communication during intersessions. That is the first challenge. But the second challenge is finances. We don't have enough money. we ask for money, budget, and we don't get that budget. That is the second one. The third one is personnel. I think at the moment we have just about 11 or 12 lawyers. Now, the judges themselves are 11. And if you have about 10 lawyers, and the 10 lawyers include the registrar, include the deputy registrar. So, and these are full-time administrators. So you just have about 8 lawyers. Now, 8 lawyers to service 11 judges, plus many other work. So, personnel. But in the personnel, it's not only lawyers, but you have also IT people. IT people, secretaries, translators, because the African Court utilizes all the 4 the official languages of the African Union: English, French, Portuguese, Arabic, and even Kiswahili. Me being a Swahili speaker, I have already translated the basic facts about the court in Kiswahili, and we have also already translated that in Arabic, and I think it might be launched sometime here. You see, so that's another factor we have: interpreters to translate into languages. Another also challenge we have is the visibility, because we don't have money to go to the world, to the African world, to say that here we are. You see, the sensitizations which we have done, and I think there are about 24 or 25. The last one, as I said, is the one that we conducted in Chad. They were sponsored by the Germans. The Germans have got this organization, the GIZ. So it was the GIZ who has sponsored that, not the African Union. So you cannot depend to promote yourself by using money from partners.
Now, in 10 years, what successes can you point out and say, we have achieved that, we have done that?
Well, I would say what I can say that we have achieved is that when you can say that we have about 90 cases in the court in 10 years, that is a great achievement.
Were they delivered? The
No,
judgments?
not that we have not delivered judgments, but there are 90 applications before us.
How many judgments have you delivered so
now,
far?
when you come to ask me about data, it's very difficult.
But you can estimate.
I think we have delivered fully about, I think, 10 or 15 cases, fully finished with them. But it's a great achievement to have these 90. I think the European Court, they stayed for, well, I don't know how many years, and they didn't have cases. But here, 10 years, and here we have about 90 cases. That is a great achievement. It shows that we are known. It shows that people understand that the court is there.
How is the collaboration between, or how are you partnering, or how is it facilitating the African...
the African Court and the African Commission?
Yes, how are you working together?
Yeah. When the charter was made, when the African Charter of Human and People's Rights was made, the first institution or instrument they made was the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. And the mandate of the African Commission of Human and People's Rights are 2. One is to promote human rights, and 2, to protect human rights. But then the Commission can only make recommendations. So they investigate and whatnot, and then they make recommendations. And if you make recommendations, it's up to the state to take it or to leave it. So the heads of states found that it is necessary to create now the court. So the basic function of the court is to complement the mandate of the African Commission in protection of human rights. The promotion is still with the African Commission of Human Rights, but and also the protection. But us is the protection of the human rights. So this is where we collaborate. And also, when they get cases, for instance, this case you told me about, the Libyan one, that case went to the African Commission of Human and People's Rights. And it was up to the African Commission on People's Rights, and when they found that they needed they needed our support, then they brought the case to us. Not only them, but there is also another case from Kenya, the Ngoek family, and they have brought it to us. So that is the collaboration we have.
Oh.
And even here, we are going to have our meeting.
That's awesome.
The Bureau of the Commission and the Bureau of the Court.
Now back to the AU summit that is taking place here in Kigali. What do you expect of the meeting?
One, as we have said, we have already asked the previous summit to declare this year to be a year of human rights with special emphasis on the women. And we expect that many things will be, there will be some commitments from the heads of states of ratifying many of these instruments. There are so many instruments which have not been ratified. So we expect that the heads of states will come to an agreement and ratify this human rights instruments. There's the right of the and welfare of the child. There is the Maputo Protocol about women's rights, and all of these they have not been fully. The Charter on Democracy, elections, and whatnot. All of this have not been fully ratified. So we expect that will be done. Also, of course, as I said, we are going to have elections, and for new judges, new or maybe re-elected judges in this. So we expect that we are going to have this input also, plus many other things. The fact that we are here, and because of the summit, you have come here and you are interviewing us. Then this is the publicity.
When you proposed the theme of this year to be human rights and women's rights, did you have in mind that there was deteriorating human rights on the continent? You said the status or the state of human rights on the continent is satisfactory.
Yeah, this is what I
Why
say.
did you again choose to have human rights as a theme this year?
Two reasons I can give you. One, as I said, this is the 10th birthday of the court. So since it is the 10th birthday of the court, what else can you say apart from saying a promotion of human rights? This is the 10th birthday. That is number one. But number two, as I've already said, there are so many instruments on human rights which have not been ratified by all the charter, I mean the protocol which has established this court itself, only 30 countries have ratified out of 54. So this is why we say that we should do that, so that we get our leaders to come to terms and to agree to ratify them. And it is not only the protocol, but the rights of children and the welfare of the children also. I think there are about 30 or so ratifications. So we have chosen this theme specifically so that we can have these instruments being ratified. And if they are ratified, that is number one. But number two, they should be fully implemented. So that's why we've said it is the year of human rights.
Just a reminder to our viewers, I'm speaking to the President of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, Honorable Justice Augustino Ramadhan, and we are discussing human rights. This year's theme for African Union Summit is human rights and women's rights. And Justice, Honorable Justice, 50 years after most of the African countries gained independence, we are still experiencing some pockets of coup d'etats in different countries. Why do you think it is still going on?
The coup d'etats?
Yes.
Well, there were many coup d'etats previously, but now I think you will agree with me that actually I cannot remember, maybe this one in Central African Republic and whatnot, but actually the number of coup d'etats have drastically decreased. And that is because of the existence and the working of the African Union. At that time it was the African Organization of African Unity, now the African Union. I think it has done quite a lot to minimize. And the whole idea is now to stop them. Because once there is a change of government and constitutional change of government, then those people who have caused the unconstitutional change of government are not allowed to attend the summits and whatnot. So I would say that the number of coup d'etats is extremely minimized. Actually, it is now becoming more and more of the past. But why are there coup d'etats? There are coup d'etats because there are some people who are not satisfied. There are coup d'etats because there are some people, there are no provisions, the constitutional provisions, which maybe limit the term of somebody to be in power. So this is what I said earlier also. There is this charter, African Charter on democratic and good governance. There is that charter. And all these things are provided for in there. And if these are going to be observed fully to the letter, then there will not be these things which you call coup d'etat or whatnot, just as our colleagues in Europe are doing. You don't find coup d'etats in Europe because of this provision and the willingness to follow and abide to those provisions.
Let's talk about impunity on the African continent. What's your take? Are we seeing cases of impunity in some countries?
There are some instances of impunity. As you can see, cases which have gone to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. But the African countries themselves have already created, actually they've created, it's a full name now, the African Court of Justice, African Court of Justice, Human Rights, and which will also cover the cases of cases like the ones which are going to the International Court of Criminal Justice. Now, this is what they call the Malabo Protocol. And one of the things which is going to be hotly debated and advocated for here, I think, is that states should ratify the Malabo Protocol. And that is the one which is intending to address this impunity in Africa.
How do we end impunity?
Let us take it at a domestic level, for instance.
Yes.
At domestic level, crime is minimized if people know that the possibility of being caught and brought to book is big. Then that is the one which minimizes crime. It is not heavy punishments which minimizes crime. Death penalty is there, and still people do kill. And what more heavy punishment do you need than death penalty? But it is the possibility of being caught, found out, and being prosecuted. That is the one. So even in impunity in international circles, it is that possibility of being brought to book, of being made responsible, answerable. That is the one which will minimize. And if the protocol, the Malabo Protocol, is going to be ratified, and that will provide venue for these matters of impunity, then we are going to minimize, if not to eradicate, impunity.
I was speaking to the President of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, Honorable Justice Augustino Ramadhan. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.